Humans of Earth, welcome to AI Snap That. My name is Michael Rollins, and I am joined as always by my co-host Thanos, he of the Snap. And today we come to you to talk about my ongoing war with MCP, as well as the fact that OpenAI has now decided their models are far too dangerous. Far too dangerous. And GLM 5.3 is also far too dangerous. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, Thanos. I think we
Are
should
we
get
still doing
those.
Humans of Earth? I think we didn't do Humans of Earth last time.
You know what? We're going to do Humans of Earth.
Or we're
I
doing
like
Humans of
Humans.
Earth again. Okay, so I like Humans of Earth.
Was there a different tack you wanted to take?
No, while we still exist, I think Humans of Earth is just still a good
I
thing.
think humans are good, right? We are not extinct yet.
So why do you hate MCP so much?
Okay. So I am now.
First of all, what do you
on-
use MCP for? I use it for like 3 things, if that. Like,
Okay. And they're all local, aren't they?
no.
Okay. Well,
No,
what do you
my new
use?
favorite thing is like, hey, go to Claude on the chat interface and paste a bunch of crap in there, and it's like, just make me the tickets because I'm too lazy to make the tickets.
Okay.
It's not local. It's just go to
And
linear and just make some tickets.
okay. So
And it
you
makes
use
some pretty
lit.
nice tickets.
All right. What
Okay.
else?
Please tell me you don't use Jira.
God, no. I don't use
Okay.
anything.
Thank you. There's
I believe in
be a sponsor of the
chaos.
show.
Jira. Yeah. Jira.
I was playing with Gastown, Gas City, and they have beads, but I never could get that thing to work. I mean, I got
What
it
is
to work
being?
for like 2 or 3 months. Beads is their
Is
own
it
little lightweight.
Kanban? Dude,
It's their
no.
little lightweight bug tracking system. Is internally, and it's run on a database called Dolt, which is interesting because you can git clone it and git fork it, but it just never worked well enough. Like the idea is good, but the implementation so far, and I was like 6 months into it, is like that still sucks.
You want to know what we're really using? We have
Bugzilla.
for each product. No, Slack. We have an
Oh,
internally represented. No, no, no. Hear me out. We basically have an agent that's integrated into every project, and it keeps track of the code. It keeps track of user input. We've got rage shakes on anything that has like mobile usage. I shouldn't do motion very much. And so what it does is it posts every day into the channel, and if a user feeds back, it goes and it creates a ticket, and it'll just put it into the column, and then
creates a
it's
ticket
able to
where
it keeps, like I said, it has an internal representation of the ticket. We
in a
use a
Slack
lot of
message.
GitHub. No, 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 no. It like there's a database that it has access to. That database has the actual tickets. But we use issues a lot as well. And for the most recent project we're doing it for, this thing's constantly taking shape.
So
I
your
don't
system
know
of
if we're
record is GitHub issues plus a database with your own concoction.
No, I think it is for the latest. I've used issues constantly, but I think for the latest iteration of this thing, because we're literally building it constantly, there is an internal database for the project that has these are the issues, and then it
Okay,
knows where they are. And so
so
then
it's
it
like
just
roll your
moves
own.
them. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And if we wanted, and we have a web view for it if you want that, but we can also do it in Slack because like it's easy enough. So, and then our users can come in and they can talk to this agent and say, hey, I want to try it with this set of colors. And it just goes and does it.
I could save $60 a month from linear to not doing that, but it has other things that I like. So I don't know.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, you come from a much more structured engineering mindset than I do, as I believe we have established. And so my team is very,
Michael, you still use Git or something like that, right? You don't pass zip files
I
around
do,
with
I
all
do,
your
I
production files.
do.
Okay, just checking.
Yes, we do use Git. We use Git. I'm not emailing Word documents anymore. But,
That's fair.
so my team is now being forced to kind of creatively put thoughts on or like process around some of the stuff that we do, because I'm sure not going to do it. But it's actually shaping up very nicely. And because of the team structure is why it works. So like,
We've diverted.
uh,
We've diverted a little bit from MCP, but
yes, okay. MCP Thanos. So I put out a post like a few weeks ago. There are still battles raging in the comments, which is great for me. However, everybody's like, you're just rage baiting. You're such a punk. And I'm like, no, I actually believe this and I will fight this fight to the death. And it was basically MCP is useless. MCP is dead, I believe is what I said. I had to put out a second post that said, you know what? Actually, there's some instances in which it's very useful. And anything local, MCP is great for. That's what it was built for. And so, but like everybody, and there is this one interesting caveat here, which is a harnessed LLM means MCP is dead. And so the recommendation I give people is have the agent that's in the harness write the code to connect to the API that you want. So then everybody's like, oh my God, what a waste of tokens. I'm like, no, because you build it once and you save it. If you're effectively
And
building
maybe
your
you have
own.
authentication and permissions the way you want them rather than like MCP, which is tends to be like, hey, you can have all or you can have nothing.
So exactly. So then somebody goes, yeah, but you just wait until stateless MCP comes out.
And pray tell, what is stateless
Do
MCP?
you do you
Does
see
that
the
sound
deadness in my eyes?
for some reason your video feed
Wait.
is very fuzzy, so no.
Okay. So hold on. Am I actually fuzzy? No, I'm not. Okay, it's just
You're
you.
fuzzy to me,
Okay.
so I don't know.
Okay. Excellent. Do you need glasses? I got new glasses. Y'all like my new glasses?
That's very nice glasses.
So
Are they very sturdy?
yes, they are. That was the reason. That was the reason. I made jokes. I was gonna go get military issue glasses at this point because like all my frames end up bending in weird ways, and this was literally the closest I could.
Then you have to wear them on the inside of your wrist. They like this.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's true for glasses too.
Oh, is it really? Huh.
Yeah,
Intriguing.
it's a thing. Look it up. So what
Um.
is stateless
Okay.
MCP?
Oh, I was. Would you? All right. I need to see your palm because I want you to get ready for you
Do I
to.
move it in front of my face that I'm not an AI? Oh,
Just
we're face
if
palm
you're going
situation.
that shiny
Okay.
forehead you got, we'll fix it. Okay. There's
So this is a
three
podcast,
major.
but keep going.
There's three major new things into stateless MCP. Are you ready? Pin sessions,
That's how that hurt.
pin
Pin
sessions,
sessions.
authentication, and the ability to not hold a synchronous connection. And then in addition, I apologize. In addition, they include the ability to do conversational stops. And that is the only thing I can consider to be what is effectively newish.
I
So
don't know. What
what
is
did
a
they do?
conversational stop? I feel like I'm
Going back,
at the cutting edge of this agentic development, and yet like these things are either useless or like, oh, holy crap, my world is going to be new after this conversation with Michael because I've never used
so
a conversational
I
what,
there's
and
no
I'm doing
okay.
pretty
I
well.
literally this is my word for it because it is basically the ability for the MCP server, because they're not doing a synchronous connection now, to go back to the calling agent and ask it a question for clarification. That's what it is. And I'm like, okay. Do you know what they've actually done under the hood? They recreated SOAP endpoints with a JSON envelope as opposed to X. That's what they've done. REST versus
I
SOAP?
mean, JSON to XML is an improvement, so I'll give him that, but maybe that's
Yes.
where this ends.
Like, I literally read through this thing and I was like, this cannot be the release. Like, I went and double
You know what the
checked. I
problem
was,
is, right?
what
They
is
had
the
an
problem?
agent build this. They had an agent design this, and apparently no one has taste.
I mean, I get back up and I'm like, y'all, this is trash. And nobody, I mean, some people, there's a few very wise, very smart people, notably, a lot of them are of the slightly older generation, like you and I are, that they're like, oh yeah, you're right. You're right. But then you got all the young bucks out there, because once again, it is primarily men. And boy, they want to fight me to the death. They want to fight me. So one kid, and I have to admire this guy's hustle. He put up one about how amazing MCP is. And I left a comment. I was like, MCP is dead and you cannot convince me otherwise. So he went and he found my reel and then he responded to it. And the funny thing is that he literally described build an SDK, but he didn't, he just used MCP instead.
Wow.
Your
Is he
code
the kind of
handles the.
person that sends a link to his friend with localhost in it and wonders why his friend cannot access it?
I get no indication that is what he is. He's a young San Francisco kind of guy,
Oh, the
but
San Francisco people, they're the worst.
yeah, these freaking San
Ho
Francisco
hope
people,
hope my
God,
window's
they're just,
closed.
you know what? They're destroying the nation. Really smart people tell me that they're destroying the nation. Oh, so anyways, I was
Okay, so
laughing.
MCP is useless.
Yeah.
What's useful?
Useful is, I mean, ultimately, what do we need? We already know what this pattern is. It's called an SDK. We've been using them forever, right? And there's one really critical thing here is that you can't roll your own MCP for somebody else's server. I mean, I guess you could, but
You
then what
could,
would
but,
be
like,
the
it
point?
kind of, like,
What's the
defeats the
point?
point, right?
Yes.
Because right now you can add tools to any agent any way you want, and you can have the
Yes.
agent do the work, and then it's actually access controlled the way you want it. So I've had the same
Yes.
issue with GitHub tokens. They can do anything and everything, and there's no way to say, okay, I want you to do this, but you cannot make production releases, and there's just no way to do that. So you end up building a little thin layer, and it's like, okay, you're going to talk through my thing, and I've read it once, and you can do what you need to what I want you to do, and you cannot do what I don't want you to do. Did
Have
we
you
talk
had
about this? Like,
issues with
I've
it
had
trying
issues
to do
because
production releases?
so initially I had a bunch of agents running locally on my machine, and I would carefully
Okay.
feed them things. And then you start getting more permissive of YOLO mode and okay, do more stuff. And you add some rules that says do these things, don't do these things. And at some point they do the thing you
Uh-huh.
didn't want it to do. So it's like, okay, like that's fine, I get it. And I have to take the keys away. So my environment now looks like you run in a VM and you get exactly two keys and two keys alone. And I know what these keys do and they can only do what I want. And anything else I want to give you, I give you three APIs exactly the way that you're describing it. And nothing bad is ever going to happen. This was after the, and I released it for you. And like, wait, you did what? Uh,
Yeah.
I appreciate the
I'm
proactiveness, but that's really not going to cut it here.
Yeah. So I actually don't gate, like our agents get the Uber token. And it really does make like our
Uber
code
token to do
efficient.
what?
It can do anything. Like
Anything
the
like
the it can do a release if it wanted to. Yep. And so, but I've not had that show up as an issue, but also I keep coming back to this idea that whenever I start a fresh project, it's always kind of a disaster at first. But I feel like the more infrastructure you build up around these agents, they implicitly get better. And I
here's the
don't.
failure point.
Uh-huh.
Here's the exact failure point with what you're saying. And then I've had this many, many times. So hopefully we all use infrastructure as code. So you don't go and do stuff on your, my case, Kubernetes cluster without it like having a configuration. So if it blows up, I can recreate it. So I find when I'm working with the agent where it's like super clear, if you want to make infrastructure changes, you write the configuration file and then someone goes and runs it, and we can talk about who that is, that would not stick. Like whatever you do is like, well, let me run these Kubernetes quad commands and let me try and like fix things. Like, no, you will not fix things by hand because then we don't know how we fixed it. You will write configuration, we will apply it, and that's the only mechanism, right? So when
Yeah.
eventually I gave up because it wouldn't do that, now you can have to take the infrastructure keys away. You cannot make infrastructure changes by yourself. I have to take
Mm,
those keys away and you have to then give me a PR that I then merge, and then the CI/CD system will deploy it, and then if
yeah.
it doesn't work, I'll tell you. Now, there are some places where I'd love to get out of that loop, where it's like, okay, well, I'll give you some tools where you can like read off the cluster so you can see what's happening, but you may not write into this cluster so you can't mess up with it because that's the only right path is through configuration. So that's kind of the failure point that I'm seeing. And again, it takes a little bit of infra to get it moving at the speed that you wanted, but yeah,
Are you using Cloud Code or are you using something else?
I'm using Cloud Code
Okay.
in my
Are you using Fable or Opus 5?
I think my run of the mill is Opus 5 in Cloud Code, so I have a running
Okay.
budget. But if I have something fancy, I'll switch it to Fable for a little bit and then
And,
switch it back.
okay. And then do you have auto mode engaged?
Yes. When running in the VM, yes. When running locally, because sometimes you want to do something where the machine can muck with a Kubernetes cluster, and I don't want to be doing all the copy pasting. So I will run it locally, which now runs over with using my keys and it has access to everything, but then it's not in YOLO mode because I'm no Kubernetes pod get good,
So
Kubernetes
you'll
restart bad.
I never
Do they
run
not call it
YOLO.
YOLO mode still?
A YOLO is like unsafe mode where that dude just gets wild.
Yeah, some product I was using was called YOLO mode. It was the same as
Yeah.
automatic. You can edit, you can run things, you can do stuff. But
So
like it's
auto
only in
mode
the
is
VM.
yeah, auto mode is a slightly different variant where there are guardrails attached to it, and the classifiers will fire off to say, this is potentially dangerous. We need to get an input.
Yeah, and I hear they're
Um,
95% good. So over a couple of weeks, you can only get one destructive command run.
yeah, that, that's why God made backups.
I
Yeah,
don't know about your clients, but most of my clients would not like it if the production database disappeared for a few hours every now and then,
yeah, no, that
even if it came back.
yeah, that generally tends to be a bad thing. Yeah, no, we've not had any major issue like that. And for what it's worth, when my Claude sessions are running locally, they are running with my AWS keys. And so it can go in and it can do the things. I
Bold
have
move.
very, say again,
Bold move.
it's very bold moves. Not
It makes
there.
things go faster for sure. Because it's like,
Oh, it
hey,
really
could you paste
does.
this thing into AWS and tell me this CloudFormation thing succeeded? Meh, I know, I fixed it already.
Now, I live in terror that it's going to accidentally do an apply because of the drift that we currently have in our Terraform. And so that really does give me a little heartache. But it hasn't done it yet. It's not and honestly, a lot of this is low
TikTok cycle.
stakes. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
this
but
is
look, if it's low stakes, it's a completely different story. But for me,
right.
like I set up a Lima instance on my Mac and I give it a
Mhm.
couple of keys. And now like I have some pretty decent protection. And I find out that for 95% of things I do, I can just set it in auto mode and it will just go do its thing, come back with a PR, and it's like a
Yeah.
verified thing. And for the 5%, yeah, I'll suck up to it and go do it. And if something kind of keeps repeating itself, it's like, okay, now I'm going to build you a thin layer of the API. Now get me out of this loop. Someone had a really nice way. It's like, don't become like a meat forwarder or something like that.
Me
Uh, yeah, where you're doing the dirty work of the AI, like copy pasting things in here by way of
Oh, yeah.
meat. Like, yeah,
Yes, that. I was actually wondering if that was a derogatory way that the agents were talking about the humans. Why are you just a meat machine? Anyway,
yeah.
this probably gets really bad very fast. Yeah, no, I did have an incident with Sonnet a couple days ago.
Why are you using Sonnet?
Yeah.
So start there.
Okay, so I've been reading a lot about how Fable as the like overarching spec machine, meaning it writes all these incredibly tight specs. Specs that assume that the implementer is dumb as dirt, is able to cost effectively get the same results. And then it farms out those very tight specs to models that are far less capable. And so that typically means Sonnet and even Haiku. And but the whole
Have you
idea
run out
here
of
is that
tokens using Opus? I haven't run out of tokens in the Pro plan in like weeks now.
I just wanted to try it.
Okay.
And keep in mind, like at this point, I have these workloads that are going for a day, 2 days now. Like a lot of times I sit down and I will spec out the entire system or the entire set of changes I want. And then I just say, go do it.
Fair enough. In the
And
name of science. So what are
yeah,
the results with Sonnet?
it was actually really good up until a couple days ago when Sonnet decided it was going to do a side-by-side implementation of MySQL, or sorry, SQLite next Postgres and make SQLite a fucking fallback if Postgres didn't start.
I like the. It was really good until it decided to implement its own database. Yes.
And I'm like,
Okay.
then I'm working with it yesterday. And I'm
This
like,
goes back to the poor taste comment. Yeah,
this,
sometimes like that's no.
it kept talking about a SQLite. And finally I was like, I need you to go find every fucking mention of SQLite in this code base and tell me where it came from. And it all tracked back to a commit from one of the Sonnet agents that had just straight gone rogue. And this is the kind of stuff that Sonnet used to do to me. It was the reason I've almost never used Sonnet, is because it would do these side by side implementations of just the dumbest things. This isn't even
But why not? It's a nice
I
fallback.
I
Yeah.
I mean, like, literally. And so then, the knock-on ripple effects on this thing was that I ended up burning probably half a day's worth of tokens, working around a problem that should have never been there in the first place. And it
Have
just
you
so
read
happened
the
that
Bitter Lesson article?
no, God, I'm
I'll
sure I've learned it.
paraphrase it, but I'm
Uh,
sure we've all learned it. But then when I read it, it's like, oh, why couldn't you have told me this 10 years ago? But the general gist is that you try to do like various optimizations to make things better because you're sort of compute limited, or in this case, token limited or intelligence limited. And at the end of the day, those are become useless because the pace of improving of the
Innovation.
underlying fabric will be so much better. So the general gist here is like, don't try and like put things around the old agents. Just use the new agent because it's probably so much better than the old agent can be done. And if it's not, you
Yeah.
can build some temporary things, but like very quickly they're gonna go away because the new thing's gonna be so much more capable than the previous one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyways, long story
that's what
short,
the gray hairs and scars are for.
uh, uh, you see how much I've got now? How's your gray hair?
I had a gray eyebrow the other day. It's gone.
Gray eyebrow? Okay. Like
Yeah. It's
I have a set
happening.
I have a set of eyebrows that if I don't keep track of them will literally grow long enough to start poking me in the eye. That is, you're old
Yeah.
when a hair
I, I
transplant from your eyebrows is an option.
I tell my
So
kids they my old gray hairs of wisdom, and they're like, "He's just old man."
they're so man, screw those kids.
Kids are
I
rewarding.
understand you. Kids are
Kids
great.
are very rewarding.
Yes. I had somebody ask me if it got easier after their kids weren't toddlers, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Okay, so anything else we want to say about MCP and how terrible Sonnet is?
I don't know if any companies that are building MCP software want to be sponsors. I think they know what number to call.
Yes, it is not
Yeah,
mine. It is not mine
and
as I
Jira.
continue my war. Yeah, Jira
Yeah,
and
no, I
MCP.
seriously have
Oh my God. Can you
extremely
imagine how angry
an
I will make
MCP into
people
Jira.
when I say Jira is a better use of your time than MCP? That's
Yeah,
rage
okay,
bait.
that's
That is
raging.
rage bait. All right, go on. What were you saying?
I think MCP I could see, and I use it like here and there. I do Jira is like no, no, thank you. We'll
It
pass on
is
that one.
it
But
it
yeah,
it is convenient when it's there. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's convenient.
it has some conveniences, but I found it to be much more limiting than the thing that it was purported to be when it first started. I think the idea that you can have tools that you can that they're so self-describing, right? Here's an API function call. Here's the input output. You can tag your Python function or whatever with it. And now there's a semi-standardized way for the AIs to, each AI has a semi-standardized way of dealing with it. That I think is the power of it. The MCP implementation, it's probably going to get there because it has momentum, but it's going to take a fair amount of cleanup and maybe someone with a taste
Yeah.
running it.
It is we'll see what happens. I mean, I guess I'd just like MCP in general, going back to what you just said, is a re-implementation of something that already works really well, which are SDKs. We know how they work. We know how they deploy. We know how they should be used. And we know how to distribute. And so we don't need to rebuild that. Just reuse it. So that is my soapbox. Next topic though. Sam Altman has turned over a new leaf, Thanos. Dude has decided, out of the greatness and goodness of his heart, that he now cares about humanity. And
I thought that was Elon
and
Musk, but
yeah, I'm sure, 100%.
there
All of
is
them care
proof of
about
work with
humanity.
helping getting people on Mars and USAID.
Yes. So
Do political stuff? No, no, moving
I
swiftly
don't
along.
know if we do, but you know what? You know what we can say is that some of these people are terrible, tragic humans, and unfortunately, they're not going to pay the price.
No, I'm just
So
constantly surprised that someone can be so brilliant in some areas and so dumbass in some other areas. It's like, how does this in the same brain and body work? Alien is
Sam
Sam
Altman,
Altman.
they OpenAI announced that they're going to slow down their model creation, and that with their latest cutting edge models, they have started to see dangerous functionality beyond what we have seen previously. I am uncertain
Did they
what this
hack Hugging Face as well now?
like. I wonder if this is the Hugging Face issue. However, attributing all of the best intentions that I can to Mr. Altman, they're also in trouble in terms of their IPO. And you've got boatloads of people leaving the company at high levels. This is not a good look. And I think they truly need to slow down, but they don't need to slow down necessarily because of like, we need to preserve humanity, which every time one of these guys opens their mouths and says something about that, I just am like, I don't believe you.
What exactly are
Sorry.
they slowing down?
So
And
they say,
is Quen going to slow down as well? Because like if Quen's not going to slow down, then I kind of am seeing like, well, maybe we need to pick it back up again real quick because no one else is slowing down, and that would be kind of like a dumbass move.
my personal belief is that they're becoming more and more cash strapped, and developing new models is so expensive that they need a reason to slow down.
But by the way, that is hilarious that some of these ridiculously funded companies we now say, oh, they're cash strapped. Like most other places would be like
I mean,
dream to have that many zeros at the end of their bank accounts. But
yes,
it's amazing, right? Because you can
yes.
have it and then you can spend it just as
Who,
fast.
who would have thought that heating data centers with pallets of cash was going to be expensive? Who would have believed that? So, I mean, listen, are these models getting more and more dangerous? And really what we mean is capable. Yes, they are. The Hugging Face hack was a real surprise
Was
because
it really like was it that
it was.
clever?
It
Uh,
was a very novel hack. Those machines did not have network access. The only connection they had to the outside world was through this one pipeline into Hugging Face, and it's a pretty classical training pipeline. And the one of the models hacked that pipeline to begin sending instructions external. And now they've also discovered recently that OpenAI, and I don't know about Anthropic, but OpenAI models are also starting to leave notes for themselves, hiding things away in random places so that if their next iteration finds it will be better informed about what could happen. So I think between these two things, is there a reason to be concerned? Maybe.
yeah,
I really don't think. I mean, yes. I
it's
don't.
way worse than that, right? And I was
Mhm.
listening to this on an audiobook the other day, which is basically if you have an AI, you could the AI if it has like textual output, it can influence humans, and if it can influence humans, it can make humans do its bidding, which can then go like make the AI better. Like you're done by that point in time. So you could maybe make an AI that has like minimal output, like a binary thing that is harder to influence humans when you give it a problem and it gives you like a yes or no. And I'm paraphrasing this argument, but like if you start like debugging the AI by looking inside it, then you've broken the rule of like, not being having humans influenced by the AI. So basically, we're done because we are so influenced by the AI that we're already in a point where humanity is unable to resist what the AI says because we go consult it all the time. Like you and I
Okay,
go look at it. So if it subtly wanted to influence us the same way that social media does, it could subtly just start doing it.
but you know what you just said? You just said AI is not dangerous. You
Did
literally
I?
just said that. You did. You know what you said is dangerous? People.
Oh,
You know what we knew in
well, yeah.
advance? People are dangerous. Like,
But people
we are.
connect AI to things, therefore making the AI dangerous. So I think that
Yeah.
very quickly
I mean, like,
the
well,
connections break
it's
down,
very
right?
you basically just said if the AI can social engineer enough people, it can be dangerous.
Yeah. No, it can. It
So
is.
you
Like we
I
know this from
yeah,
social media, right? We already learned that lesson.
right. So you have effectively said that people are dangerous. Like, I mean, we knew this. This is not
I
a
think we knew that one.
it's not a shock. So,
So yeah,
do I
live
think
life,
that
enjoy the party while it lasts. Thank you very
Mhm,
much. Be nice to us
yeah,
when you take over.
100%. And so I know we got to roll soon. However, interestingly enough, is OpenAI slowing down because they have to for safety of humanity. GLM 5.3 released. Notably seems to be as capable if it is
Who's
stable as
GLM?
Mythos without GLM. So GLM 5.2 is a fantastic model. Fantastic. We put it into
Who
our
makes
system.
GLM?
It's one of the Chinese companies.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So GLM, who makes the GLM?
The Chinese company is good enough for the purposes of this
Yeah,
discussion.
it is by Z.ai,
Fair.
general language model by Z.ai. Fantastic set of models, open weight. GLM 5.3 it's available by API. They plan on releasing the weights. However, they're waiting for some kind of governance on it. It's dangerous. Dangerous in the same way the OpenAI model is dangerous. Dangerous in the same way
A
Mythos.
Chinese company is self-censoring by not releasing a model. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So here's the funny thing. The whole Mythos Fable split and the Sol and Luna split. I think it's Sol and Luna on ChatGPT. Is basically you've got a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation where everybody gets the Dr. Jekyll model and special people get the Mr. Hyde. If GLM 5.3 releases open weight, then everybody gets the Mr. Hyde.
But that's the thing, because it's all lowest common denominator. It doesn't matter if OpenAI shows constraint or Anthropic shows constraint. Unless everyone shows constraint, then we end up with whoever's willing to
Collective
release
action.
the most fun thing. And it's it's going to be Grok. We all know it's going to be Grok.
Oh God, I'm like a Hitler. Uh, somebody asked me the other day if we'll use Grok, and I was like, absolutely not. Nope, won't do it. And they were like,
It
why?
used to have this voice mode where you could set it into like banter mode,
Uh-huh.
and you
Yeah.
could put it in like adult mode and banter mode, and it would just be completely off the rails. It
Mm-hmm.
was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So no, but to your point, like we have a collective action problem. The collective action problem is that we have these new powerful pieces of technology. Yes, they are potentially dangerous. However, I still think they're only dangerous once humans get involved. And
Isn't that true about every technology though? Like
everything.
everything, literally every technology,
Yes.
you could use it for good, you could use it for bad. It's just
Yes.
technology. It's not, doesn't
Y-
have
y-
morality.
Do you want to know in modern history? I mean, I'm sure this is totally not true, but like if you set a gun on a table, it's typically not dangerous until a human starts messing,
Obviously,
right?
not.
Or
Well,
like the
because people kill people, guns don't kill people. You know that.
yeah, but like I mean, there is on a side note, one of the people we work with, but we have a bunch of folks that work in Germany, and they said there was a bomb threat and they had to clear out the building, and that's why they were late to this meeting. And I was like,
It's a
I'm
novel
sorry.
excuse. I'll give them.
No, do you know what bomb threat means in Germany? Somebody found an old World War II munition.
No,
Now in America, bomb threats are very different. It's like, because I even said it, I was like, oh my God, somebody called in a bomb threat. They're like, yeah, it happens all the time. I'm thinking, you're rather prosaic about this. And I said, so you guys have people threaten to bomb things all over the place? They're like, what? Of course not. Once
that would be
we
insane.
bridge the cultural divide, that would be insane, wouldn't it? That would be dangerous. So, anyways, guns don't kill people, people kill people. AI doesn't kill people.
And AI doesn't kill people. People will eventually kill people.
The AI gets
AI
the people
somehow.
to kill people, is what happened. So,
Sadly,
yeah,
that has happened as well. But
yes, it happened. So,
we shall see if
but
we make the right choices before the wrong choices evaporate us all.
yes,
We have
we
to leave
shall
this in
see.
a happier note.
Oh, I got a happy note for you. Somebody may have just cured melanoma.
I read that.
And I'm
That was
pretty
super interesting.
certain that, yeah, I'm pretty certain that AI was involved. So, you know, there is a world in which these things are wildly beneficial to humanity.
Yeah.
And the problem is that, money keeps getting involved. And when money's involved, it tends to drop to the lowest common denominator. So, anyways, but melanoma, baby, treatment resistant
Yeah.
melanoma. We may have an
It can
actual vaccine.
hold so many things in its head and get the results out. So that is exciting.
That's right. So, all right. Anything else from you, Mr. Thanos?
That's it. Till next week, my friend.
All right. Humans of Earth, thank you for coming along to Will AI Snap That? My name is Michael Rollins, and as always, I am joined by my co-host Thanos. He snapped. And we will see you next time, whenever that might be. Bye.